taking a moment to ensure that you all know that in this moment, all I want to do is scream. But instead, I am making this video because through all of this, by this I mean watching my friends and family barely survive or die of genocide, Palestinians have had to remain level-headed. We've had to remain informed 24/7. We've had to remain calm and unemotional so that we can continue educating the world on things that they are consistently telling us we don't know enough about. When the World's Central Kitchen organization was starting to make its way into Gaza, and this humanitarian aid port was being constructed from the literal rubble of our homes and bodies, Palestinians said this was not the way. And like everything else that we say, nobody listens. There are a lot of people who think that Palestinians should be grateful for the foreign aid that we are continuously receiving, and they do not understand why we are consistently rejecting the idea of viewing Gaza from the lens of humanitarian disaster. It is not a humanitarian disaster that requires humanitarian aid. Gaza is a man-made political disaster. All of what is happening to Palestine is a man-made political disaster. Decolonization is a very, very uncomfortable process that many people who are on my platform and following other Palestinians just resistant to learning how to do. But we're going to keep trying to teach you how to decolonize your mindset, not just about Palestine, but about everything that happens in this world, because that's what we do. That's what indigenous folks do. If these governments and aid agencies who are cooperating together had any intentions of leading Palestinians to a life of dignity and self-sustainability, there would be calls for a permanent ceasefire. There would be calls for the immediate removal of Israeli boots on the ground in Gaza. There would be calls for an end to the siege on Gaza. There would be calls for an end to the occupation of Palestine and the removal of the Zionist entity from indigenous lands. Palestinians are not a hopeless, distressed people. And Palestine is not a desert wasteland. It is very fertile. Palestinians are very capable of sustaining our own community and cultivating our own ancestral lands. And all of this would be possible if our occupiers were removed from our ancestral lands. All of this would be possible if our occupiers stopped receiving United States funding and other foreign government funding to destroy our ancestral lands. For the last 6 months, this world has been fixated on ensuring that Gaza became completely dependent on foreign aid. And now, 6 months in, after a targeted strike on foreign aid workers has happened and killed foreign aid volunteers in Gaza, organizations are turning their ships around and removing their volunteer staff from on the ground in Gaza for safety concerns. So now we have a vulnerable population that was already too dependent on foreign aid, now even more dependent on foreign aid, and will no longer be receiving that foreign aid. If you think delivering foreign aid as a foreigner in Palestine is dangerous, how dangerous must it be to be a Palestinian in Palestine? Gaza is besieged. Palestine is under occupation. Palestinians do not want foreign aid. We want our occupiers to get the fuck off of our land. And if you think that it is a coincidence that the world is now talking about this instead of this, then you have absolutely no concept of the evils that colonizers will go to ensure they can continue colonizing indigenous land. Israel is hunting Palestinians. Israel is hunting Palestinians with United States funding. You need to be able to say this and say it confidently, knowing that it is the truth, and understanding this as the underlying context in everything that you read. Israel is hunting Palestinians on Palestinian land.